Don't they say something like the 3 P's of preparation? Preparation, preparation, penis? Hey folks, it's Finn. Welcome back folks, lovely to see you. Thank you for tuning in to another video. So today's topic is phalloplasty, and something I am commonly asked from people is how on earth to prepare for this huge journey. And so in today's video, I'm going to share some of my tips and suggestions, because the more prepared you are, the better you can go through recovery and the better your outcome will be. But before we get stuck in, if you are new to my content, then a very, very big welcome. My name is Finn, and here on this channel, I share very honest, first-hand accounts and practical advice on topics of gender transition, LGBT life and mental health. And it's all served up with a little slice of humour to make it a little bit easier to digest. A little bit of humour goes a long way in helping with the toughest of times. So if you're enjoying my content and you would like to support the work I do, then I would love it if you subscribe to my channel, because it really does help and it's really easy to do. Just hit the little button underneath, and if you want to support me even more, you can check out the join button. Phalloplasty has been one of the hardest journeys I've ever gone through. Mine was over 3 years, 6 surgeries, and it was really tough, to put it mildly. There's so much recovery you're going through, so your body is constantly between like healing and healed all the time. Your mental capacity to deal with that is pushed to the max. So today in this vlog, I'm going to share 5 main tips to help you cope with both the emotional process you will go through and the physical process you will go through in this tough but ultimately worthwhile and rewarding journey. The first tip seems like an obvious one, to be sure of your decisions, but I think often as trans people we can worry that if we think about stuff too much, people might doubt us. If we're questioning, the narrative can often be, well, if you're questioning, maybe you don't want this enough. That's not true. This surgery is complex and multi-layered, and there's lots of things we need to work through in order to make sure that this is the right thing for us. So never be afraid to take a huge amount of time. I took a good year before I started this journey to really deeply think about if I really did want this and why I wanted this. And making sure that you are absolutely 100% sure of your decisions will actually make your recovery process and your outcome much better. Because there will likely be many times in this journey where you question why on earth you did this to yourself. I woke up from first stage lower surgery in a huge amount of pain. And initially it was great, I could see a penis, it was brilliant. But then as the days went on and you're stuck in a bed at stage 1, I was going quietly mad because there was lots of pain, I really couldn't move. And I had this day called Dark Wednesday, 3 days in, where I'd hardly slept. I was just in so much pain, I couldn't settle. And I felt my mind kind of slipping into, why did you do this, Finn? Surely you could have survived without a penis. Is this really worth it? Spoiler alert, it was. But this is why it's so important that we allow ourselves the time to really deeply drop into knowing that we need this surgery. Because then at those times where your resolve is less, your resilience is less, your pain is high and you're questioning things, you'll be able to say to yourself, this is painful, this is really tough, and it's understandable that I'm questioning it, but I know it's going to be worth it in the long run, because I've thought about it for such a long time. And what I actually did as well was I wrote myself a little note, just a couple of paragraphs, that stated all the reasons why. And at times where I was struggling, when I was in lots of pain, or when I had complications, I could pull this little bit of paper out and read what I'd written to myself about why I wanted this and why it was going to be worth it. And that helped. I do actually offer coaching and mentoring specifically around lower surgery decisions and going through the process. So if I can ever help, please do drop me a message, and I will leave a link to my coaching and mentoring page in the section below. Once you know that surgery is the right path for you and you're on the waiting list and ready for stage 1, the next best thing you can do is really, really over-prepare. Get everything you need ready for both the hospital stay and for the recovery at home. You honestly cannot be over-prepared. Stage 1 is by far the toughest. You're in hospital here in the UK for a week. 5 of those days you are stuck in bed. If you've had the graft on the arm, then you've not got the arm in use. You've got staples under your bum cheeks. You've got a new penis. You cannot move. So it's really important that you've got everything you need to hand so that you can make the stay as comfortable as possible. And also on returning home, it can feel really overwhelming to come out of hospital where you've got people on hand to look after you, a bed that moves up and down, everything that you need, to then come home and have to look after yourself and your new penis. So making sure you've got everything at home in place as well to make the recovery easier. It's practical things, food, looking after your personal hygiene, but also lots of distraction stuff to keep your mind busy when you're in pain or you're bored and you can't sleep. I've got a huge bumper blog over on my website. There's a blog there of all of the stuff I took to hospital to look after myself and all the ways I adapted my home when I was coming home from stage 1, and I will link both of those in the description below. Going through this surgery is tough, and if we try and struggle through, then we risk messing up our recovery and ultimately messing up our result. And if we can find people to help us go through it, it will be so much easier. Again, this is really important after stage 1. I really cannot stress how much you're going to discover you can't do when you get home. It's one thing seeing it on paper, it's quite another thing going home and going through it. Everything was so much hard work. So having people that could get some shopping in, cook a meal for me, take me to an appointment, I was so grateful for. So really ahead of time, ask amongst your friends and family who you'd feel comfortable doing what, because you're going to need help with things like bandages, dressing changes as well. So have a think about your different relationships, who might be able to help you with what, and then approach people. It is tough, I know, because I'm certainly somebody that struggles to ask for help, but I guarantee you those that love us will happily help us through this, so do reach out. Let's remember that asking for help is a sign of strength, never a sign of weakness. And this includes reaching out to your local GP as well. I did this ahead of time. I actually went to my GP and I talked her through the process of what I was having done and the sort of aftercare I'd need, because often doctors and nurses aren't that familiar with phalloplasty. They're all, of course, familiar with dressing changes and things like that. So as long as they know what's expected, then it's easier. Once you get home, you can ring up and they already know ahead of time what's happening. So if I needed things like extra prescriptions, extra dressings, they already knew this. So this is really, really key. Talk to everybody, your family, your friends, your doctor, whoever is involved with your care that you can find, so that they're all as prepared as you are, so that you know where you can go to ask for help and support at any given time. I think this is a really key thing to prepare for when you're going in for lower surgery, that the dysphoria may likely get worse before it gets better. And there's a number of reasons for that, because unlike with top surgery, you go in, have your top surgery done, and apart from the scars and some healing to be done, you can see the results and it feels good. But with lower surgery, it isn't just one surgery and you're done. There's lots. So we have to kind of get used to the fact that every time we wake up from surgery, what we have is not yet finished. And that can be really tough to deal with. It can be really tough to deal with the waiting times between surgeries, and suddenly this time where you're going to have a finished penis seems like it's miles away. And there was lots of things I couldn't do to ease my dysphoria as I once had. An example of this is a stand-to-pee device. I used a stand-to-pee device and that helped with my dysphoria in public places. But after first stage lower surgery, because I'd had a penis created, my stand-to-pee device no longer fitted. And then complications can cause dysphoria as well. After being able to stand to pee, there was a problem with my urethra and I had to be undone. Lots of you remember that. So I'd gone from the joy of standing to pee to having that taken away and sitting down again, and my dysphoria went through the roof. And so it's really wise to prepare well beforehand. Get yourself a self-care plan together of ways to manage the stress and anxiety that will likely appear once dysphoria starts to rise in your life again. Often as trans people we can feel judged if we say we feel low going through this process, because people are expecting us to be happy and joyful, because after all, you wanted this surgery. Really not helpful when people say that. So finding people you trust that you can go to, getting some support online with friends, with family, having a solid self-care routine whilst you're going through this and managing this dysphoria really does help. Managing your expectations really is key. Not just in the surgery stages. It does really help to kind of manage your expectations, so that you know stage 1 is just creating a penis. It's not going to do anything else. Holding that in mind, that you're not going to suddenly feel euphoric. But also bearing it in mind, and the end result is equally key. Because we have to really own the fact that this transgender penis will never be the same as a cis man's penis. It's pretty close. I always speak to my mentoring clients about working out what is our best case penis. What is our closest enough that we are happy with. And we have to work towards that and not some other ideal. When we start comparing ourselves to others, comparing ourselves to cis males, then we can leave ourselves feeling really pretty awful. We have to be really honest about what this surgery can do. And it can do a lot of things, but it can never give us a natural erection. We can never produce sperm. It will always look different than a cis penis. And we just have to find a way to be okay with that. It's not about saying I can't have what I want. It's about saying actually what I can have is pretty amazing. This surgery does give incredible results. And if we go into it with that mindset, then at the end we're really happy with our results. I speak really honestly about the fact that of course my penis has some flaws, but actually I'm okay with that, because do you know what? Not even a cis male's penis is perfect. Even they have issues with their penises. So yes, do bear in mind that this surgery gives incredible results, but also bear in mind that you must come to a place of acceptance of what a good enough penis means to you before you even start this journey. Because if your expectations are something that can never be achieved, you will of course be disappointed. So we have to be realistic with ourselves. If you would like to see a finished result, I do have a personal private video that I have available over on my Ko-fi page, and I'll put a link to that below. At the end of my journey now, all of these things that were so hard to deal with have been very much worthwhile. All of that pain, all of that frustration has melted away now that I have a penis that I feel really comfortable with. It's made such a difference to my life. But I like to give a very balanced view of this journey. It's been really important to me to do that, because for me, I'm somebody that likes to be very well informed. I like to know the good and the bad, and then when I know both of these things, I can better prepare. This is why I share in the way I do. In my memoir that's coming out soon, I give a very honest account of this entire journey from start to finish, both the physical processes and the mental processes, because that's key in good recovery and good outcome. Our minds and bodies are very much interlinked, and they affect what happens to us, you know. I've had times in my surgery where my mind wasn't in great shape and it affected me physically. So it's really key to have a very honest view of what this surgery is, what this surgery entails, and when we're well informed, we can then better travel through these difficult times. Preparation equals penis. I really hope that was helpful. If you've had phalloplasty and you'd like to share some of your own tips, then I would love it if you would put them in the section below. If you're somebody that's looking ahead to have phalloplasty and you've got any comments or questions, then also please do feel free to leave them below. I'm always happy to help. Take care of yourselves, folks. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next week.